Paula, thank you for joining us to break it down on the seeming growing number of women coaching at high levels in professional sports, men's sports, traditional men's sports. And I've been looking forward to this conversation with you. You know, after watching the Super Bowl, we had the first two women as assistant coaches, and in the NBA, we got Becky Hammonds. We had a woman officiating in the Super Bowl. I guess for the baseline, and you follow this stuff closely, the numbers really are increasing. Is that right?
Absolutely. I mean, it's, first of all, when I was young and, I used to put like eye black on my Barbie dolls because that was the closest thing I would get to playing football. I never imagined this was even a possibility. It didn't even enter my mind. So to see not only the increase in the NFL, but you mentioned the NBA, around college sports. I think the only thing we're not seeing, Ken, is women getting the opportunity, especially at college, to be like head coaches of women's teams like they used to. Because back in the day, I think before Title IX, women dominated coaching women's teams. When money started funneling into these colleges and universities, they started paying coaches better. And so the men kind of started taking over a lot of these jobs. So that's the only concern I see right now as far as men are coaching women's teams. But my gosh, if we can get women coaching men's teams, that would be unbelievable.
That's a great undertold point. So for all non-historians and non-old people and non-journalists that follow this stuff. So 1972, Title IX passes, and the thought was that there would be this increasing number of women as head coaches. And you're right. What happened, a number of jobs opened up and men got those jobs. I guess, the benefit of Title IX, if I'm understanding it, was more so that women got to play more, that there were more opportunities to play. Is that
Yeah, absolutely. I think it gave women the opportunities at all levels to play and compete. And I think we've seen that now. It's been so great. I think young girls, for many years, the sort of body image that they would see on magazine covers was the starving model. And now we see them as these sort of strong, athletic women on covers of magazines. And that's been fantastic. And I think a lot of that has to do with they're being provided opportunities to play sports at a young age and supported through high school and through college and having more opportunities.
But we have this moment going on now, and there is no Rooney Rule, which actually says for minority coaches that a minority coach must be hired. So presumably women could be included in that calculation. It doesn't say person of color specifically. Right. First, why is the change occurring now? And then, should there be a Rooney Rule in terms of hiring for women?
That's a great question. So I think a couple of things have happened. One, and thank goodness for this, the climate of our country, where people are using their voices to speak about racial injustice, and athletes are very strong leading figures in this movement. So I think it's partially a reaction to what we've been seeing the last few years in sports, but it's also, people like Greg Popovich of the Spurs, when he hired Becky Hammond, everyone was like, what? And it worked just fine. And players didn't blink. And this is what I love about most of the modern day players now. Things that I grew up with that people reacted to, they're like, this is fine, it works. So I think people like Greg Popovich took a stand. Bruce Arians, who just won a Super Bowl, hired the first female football coach when he was with the Cardinals. It was like an internship, but that opened eyes. And you look at what happened this year, the Super Bowl, Tampa Bay wins with two women on their staff. One is an assistant line coach, one is, I think, a strength and conditioning coach. So I think it's all been a reaction to kind of this movement, and it's phenomenal because this is what we needed more than anything, for young girls to be able to turn on their TV and see something and think it's normal and be able to aspire to it.
Until you and I just have this conversation, I hadn't really thought about deeply enough the intersection between these two moments.
Right.
That women are having this and frankly, let's call it modest success until there is this real big breakthrough. But it's something that should happen. All these women can outcoach anybody that's below them. They should be where they are.
Right.
But then you have these black head coaches who have hit this wall. One of 7 hires in this last round with the NFL, to focus on the NFL specifically. And it's not something, in my opinion, again, this is why I hesitate. I've been thinking about this a lot. We're in a pandemic. I have time to reflect on these things.
Exactly.
It's not something you can legislate.
Right.
It really is the old, for all us old David Halberstam, hearts and minds, Vietnam kind of people. You got to change hearts and minds some kind of way for that kind of change to come. So what do you think about that? Is that how those two fit together?
Well, the whole hearts and minds thing is fascinating to me, because you're right. I think legislating, even the whole, giving women opportunities, I could see such backlash, and backlash is fine. I mean, that's how we get change done. But I mean, if you look at what just happened with female sports journalists in the last couple weeks, executives in baseball were harassing them on their phones with text messages and things like that. There's still a problem with how a lot of people view women in sports, whether it is at a journalistic level, whether it is at a coaching level. And that recent stuff appalled me, because I thought we had put that behind us. So I think we still have a lot of work to do in that arena you're talking about, of not legislation necessarily, although I think there might be room for some, but convincing and getting people in a different mind frame about women in the world of sports.
So Paula, to close out, who will be? let me rephrase that. What will the first men's league be that has not just in a fleeting moment, that has a woman as a head coach?
Definitely. I think at the NBA, simply because I think they got a bit of a head start with Becky Hammond, with the Spurs, seeing the success that is. Football is slowly getting there, but I don't think they're at that point. I haven't heard much of a conversation with hockey. And baseball, we're seeing a very important hire in a general manager position, which is fantastic. But I think right now the NBA has a head start with the coaching. So that would be my guess. Don't hold me to it.
No, I'll hold you to it. No,
okay.
Thank you, Paola. It was Bruce Arians said it was time to knock those doors down. So thank you for breaking down the evolution of women in coaching in the NFL and elsewhere. Thank you, Paola.
Oh, thank you, Ken. Appreciate it.
This hour of local news is made possible by contributions from the Friends of PBS, members of your PBS station. Thank you. If you have comments about Arizona PBS News, please contact us at one of the addresses on your screen. Thank you.